Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this week we're expecting some new iOS updates, iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max supplies are backed up, and much more. This is your news update for the week of November 7th, 2022. Yesterday, Apple issued a statement about low supplies of iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max due to restrictions in China, which have led to significantly reduced production. I don't remember the last time they gave an official press release saying that the supply chain is backed up a little bit, and you'll see here at the bottom of the press release that we're working closely with our supplier to return to normal production levels while ensuring the health and safety of every worker. So this could reduce the overall supply, and it may be backed up quite a bit depending on where you're ordering from. Now, we are seeing more and more iPhone 14s actually produced in different places, such as India and more. However, if you're looking to order one for the holiday season, you may have to wait a bit. If you order now, you'll see that it delivers December 8th to the 14th. So if you're looking to get one for maybe holiday season, Christmas, or something else, you may want to order one now. But it looks like they may be backed up for a little while based on those restrictions. Now, Apple has actually frozen the hiring of new jobs outside of their research and development departments to cut costs. Based on the overall economic downturn, it looks like a lot of companies are doing this. They've slowed the hiring. They haven't said they're getting rid of anyone yet, but it looks like they've slowed everything down according to Bloomburg and other sources. So we could see that with more companies soon. So hopefully they don't do anything more than that. But at this point, it looks like they've slowed all of the hiring down. We've seen this before from them. And then as things turn around, they just ramp back up and start hiring again. Now, with the latest introductions of iOS, Apple introduced a tap-to-pay feature where if you're someone that's receiving payments, you no longer need a third-party attachment plugged into your phone to receive those payments. Apple's built that in with Apple Wallet, and apparently PayPal and Venmo are adding the new tap-to-pay features. So different suppliers or different retailers have to add that, so you'll be able to just tap to pay somebody directly on the phone and not need a third-party app or a third-party accessory in order to do that. So we should see those roll out very soon. The European Union is back at it, looking into forcing Apple to allow sideloading of apps, alternate app stores, and iMessage to work with other platforms. It's possible Apple may not have to comply with the new laws, but it depends on the technicalities of the laws. So depending on if Apple is considered what's called a gatekeeper, they may have to allow access into these different applications and alternate app stores as well. So if they have to comply there, we may see that roll out across the US, but it could be a year or two from now. However, they will have to comply with that USB-C law we talked about last week. There was also talk years ago about Apple opening up iMessage to third-party developers or maybe implementing it on Android as well. That was revealed in the Epic versus Apple trial, and Eddie Q apparently was all for it, trying to get on different platforms with iMessage as well. So there's some employees within Apple, executives, that would want to see that moved over. Maybe we'll see that in the future anyway, but either way, I think it would be great for everyone to have access to iMessage and as an alternate to maybe WhatsApp and more. But let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Now, some users who updated to macOS Ventura and use Microsoft Exchange Calendar are apparently having some issues with it syncing properly. If you use Exchange for your calendar, you may want to hold off until an update is released to fix the issue. So that's something we've seen sometimes with initial releases. We have issues with Exchange and other different applications and even routers such as Cisco and more that we're seeing with iOS 16.1 having issues with Wi-Fi. Now, Apple's celebrating the holiday season like they do every year, and they have a website press release for that. It says this year's holiday gift guide features the most innovative lineup ever of iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple Watch, AirPods, and more. And you can see all of their different designs. As I zoom in, you'll see that's iPhones and Apple Watch in all of these creative designs. So I'll link that in the description if you want to check it out. And to go along with that is their gift guide. So you can see everything new this year: iPhone 14, AirPods Pro 2nd generation, Apple Watch, and more. So all of those are here, along with what they have every year is an extended return window. So if you're gifting something to someone and you purchased it online or in the Apple Store and you received it between November 4th and December 25th, you can return it all the way up until January 8th. So all of that is now in place if you're looking for that. And if you're looking for the latest deals, there's quite a few good ones this week. So if you're looking for the latest iPad Pro, the 11-inch is actually on sale. So I'll link that in the description along with other deals. I will get a little bit of commission for it, but if you want to search for it, you can find it that way as well. And the new 11-inch iPad Pro is $50 off, sold by Apple on Amazon. The Apple Watch Series 8 is down to $489 for the 45mm or $389 for the 41mm, not the Ultra, but the Series 8. And the biggest discount comes to the latest MacBooks. So with the MacBook Pros, not this MacBook Air, but the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros are up to $400 off for the 512GB model and $500 off for the 1TB models. That's definitely worth checking out if you've been wanting to get one of those M1 Pro versions, 8-core CPU and 14-core GPU and 16 gigs of RAM. That's a pretty great deal, $500 off with the 1TB model or $400 for 512. So again, I'll link all of those in the description, and AirPods Pro 2 are also on sale as well as some other products also. The Apple TV 4K, if you don't want the latest one, is down to $99. So there's some great deals, and I don't expect those to be improved upon for Black Friday if you're looking for maybe deals later on. But that's a pretty great deal for the MacBooks especially. Last week, Apple stopped signing iOS 16.0.3 and iOS 15.7. This is a bit of a disappointment, as those that wanted to downgrade to iOS 15 could do that by downloading iOS 15.7, installing that, and then upgrading to iOS 15.7.1. Apple's not allowing you to downgrade to 15.7.1 if you're on iOS 16, but you could before to 15.7, but you can't any longer, unfortunately. So there's no way around that. If you're on iOS 16, it looks like you'll be on that for the future now. Now, iOS 16.1.1 should release soon, according to MacRumors, as they're starting to see it in their logs, and that typically indicates someone's using it, and we should see a release very soon. Makes a lot of sense. We've been waiting for them to fix the issues with Wi-Fi, and we could see a release as soon as today, more likely later in the week or possibly the week after. Last year, Apple released iOS 15.1.1 on November 17th, so it could be sometime next week as they get everything right with that, and it makes a lot of sense that we'll see that before iOS 16.2. So hopefully they fix that or release that to fix the issues with Wi-Fi and the other issues people are having with things such as notifications and more. Along with that, also we should expect iOS 16.2 Beta 2 probably as soon as tomorrow. We should be on a bi-weekly schedule. I would expect it tomorrow or Wednesday, and then maybe another release the following week or the week after, with a final release in mid-December. Last year, we had it released on the 13th with iOS 15.2. We can expect iOS 16.2 sometime around that same time. And with iOS 16.2 Beta 2, Apple has said that it will bring 5G compatibility to iPhones in India. So if the iPhone 13, if you have one of those and you don't have 5G in India yet, you'll be able to use it with that. And then, of course, with the final release to the public, everyone will have it in India. So that's something we'll see very soon, and hopefully it works really well. So all of you that are in India and able to try that out, I can't wait to hear how it's working for you once it's live and available. Now, as far as rumors and leaks this week, well, Siri is apparently going to be changed so that you no longer have to say the word "hey" in front of it to activate it. It's good that Apple's focusing more on Siri, as we've seen it kind of degrade over time and seemingly have less and less either reliability or maybe even functionality. Siri was once the leader, and now it looks like Google and even Alexa is a little bit better in many different ways. I do like Siri, but I think they definitely need to work on it a little bit. And saying Siri to just recognize your voice and then saying a phrase could be a little bit more like Alexa, but either way doesn't matter to me. I just want them to work on it a little bit more. Let me know what you think about that, though. Now, next year, iPhone 15 is still going to be using Qualcomm Cellular 5G modems, despite Apple working on their own modem. It looks like it might be pushed back a year or two. Apple has a bunch of patents. They used to put Intel modems. They bought those patents, and so far they haven't made their own modem. So they may need to work on that a little bit more, and maybe we'll never see them. But either way, it's pushed back a year or two, and we can expect Qualcomm modems in next year's update as well. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as they seem to be pretty reliable. Now, many have asked, when is Apple going to make a folding phone like that of Samsung's? According to Samsung, they expect Apple to have a folding phone in 2024. So that's according to The Elect, stating that Samsung Mobile Division had a meeting with suppliers about smartphones, and they expect a release probably in 2024. They would know as they make pretty much one of the best or only foldable displays out there, and they supply Apple with their displays on their 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. So they should know. They probably shouldn't be saying anything about that, or it was a behind closed door meeting. But either way, I'm not crazy about the folding phone, but I do like the Z Flip, as it feels like the screen is right there. It's nice and compact and easy to just throw in a backpack. However, it doesn't really change the overall room unless you don't have tall pockets, but it does add thickness. So it's kind of the same space, but it's something that I actually do like, and I like the convenience of being able to set it up and just record video. So there's some advantages to it. I don't know that it's that great, but let me know what you think about the folding phones in the comments below. Now, every couple of years we get a new iPhone SE, and the iPhone SE4 should be coming up fairly soon, maybe in a year or two, but Apple is apparently still considering what size to make it. Many people said that it would be a 6.1-inch size, similar to the iPhone XR or 11, and that would mean maybe an LCD display that's 6.1 inches. However, it's possible it could still be a 5.7-inch display and be a little bit smaller, possibly OLED or possibly LCD. We don't really know. Even Ross Young, who's a display analyst that's very accurate, says that it's still up in the air. So we could see this go either way depending on what Apple decides to do. Now, Apple apparently once looked at making the iPad back out of plastic, maybe similar to the iPhone 5C, and this would be to compete with Chromebooks. However, they were able to get the iPad down to $329 and sold to many schools for even less in bulk. So they didn't really need to do that, but it would have been interesting to see an iPad that was plastic. So maybe similar to an iPhone 5C, that hard plastic, many people liked that phone, or even the iPhone 3G or 3GS. We could have had an iPad like that. That definitely could help with things like cellular or Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity instead of having to have those antenna lines here. Now this year, like I mentioned last week, we don't expect new Macs before the end of the year. Many people have said that Apple has pushed those until next year, and Tim Cook said their products for this year are wrapped up, and this is what we have. So he didn't say that there won't be more Macs, but he did say all of our product lineup is done, and that would make sense since maybe supply chain would be a little bit slow to get new processors out. So no new Macs this year. The M2 MacBook Air and MacBook Pro were the last updates as far as the M2 processor, but it looks like the M2 Pro, M2 Max, and M2 Ultra would be early 2023. So that seems like that's possible to be early next year, maybe with the new VR headset or AR headset, but again, that will wait on the supply chain and just the right timing for that. Also, a new patent suggests Apple could be bringing back the backlit logo. We've had this stainless steel logo that gets a ton of fingerprints and smudges on it. They could be bringing back a new logo that would be lit up like they had for many years, and a new patent suggests we could see that in maybe future Macs, where even though this is super thin, they could use a reflective mirror to sort of brighten this up the way they wanted to. So it's possible we could see that. I would love to see them bring that back. So that's everything for the news this week, and since I've been doing these videos for a few years, and if you've stayed to watch this part of the video, if you have any suggestions of something you'd like me to add to these videos, I'm always up to making them better, so let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, of course I'll link it in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.